Hello, everyone. This is day 5 of the 21 days, basically to embracing and healing your own heart. And the topic is learning to trust and stand up for myself. And I want to do an invite. I find it's better. Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to do that. So, and I've got to get this plugged in. Hey, Fiona, hang on. You get to see all the background. I just started to do it and I realized my battery is like almost dead. Hi, Fiona. Always love to see you here. So this idea of learning to trust ourselves, coming to you from my bedroom today, and taking a stand for ourselves. And I want to, so pretty much most things I say is it's opinion of mine, and it's also stuff that I've garnered and learned through so many of the sessions that I've done with different people. And what I would say in particular is it's not that men can't doubt themselves, but women are often enculturated to default to someone else, to not trust themselves, to believe that we're not as smart, we don't know as much. That is historical enculturation that's in our world. I mean, all over the world. It just absolutely historical enculturation. So it makes sense that learning to stand up for ourselves, trust ourselves, taking a stand, because it can feel really, really, really unsafe to do that. It can feel colossally unsafe to do that. So learning to trust yourself, one, is a journey, it's a process. The best way I know to do it, and it continues to be a process for me, is tapping. Tapping is one of those things where you can start to get the muck out of the way. The shifts I've seen in myself is, like I said, people saying they're disappointed in me, and it's like they're entitled to be disappointed in me. That was like a death sentence to me a long time ago, especially if my father was ever disappointed in me. It doesn't mean that still can't kick in for me at times, but I notice I'm so much freer of all that now than I ever used to be. But it's a process, and it takes time. So let's just dive in and tap on, like, I don't trust myself. It's scary to take a stand for myself. It doesn't feel safe. Because if you're anything like myself, when I was a chatty kid. And I grew up in a system and a culture of Catholicism that did not like you thinking for yourself. The one I grew up in did not want you to have an independent thought. So when you did, you got punished. So that's why I said I ended up in the principal's office often, not because I was a bad kid, but because I questioned a lot of what I was being told. And it got to the point for me so much that I just fell asleep to my own truth. I started to suppress that and literally fell asleep to my own truth. And then I bought into stuff, hook, line, and sinker, and started to believe all the stuff that I was told. And that unhooking process has been a process. So if you've been enculturated in any way to you shouldn't have an independent thought, you shouldn't think for yourself. I see that on Facebook too, where if people don't agree with you, they'll often unfriend you. I don't typically unfriend people that don't that don't agree with me. The only time I did it recently was when someone was sort of suing a personal vendetta on Facebook, and I was like, yeah, no, this you could pick up the phone and call me. That's the way to deal with this. So my family sure didn't allow me to have my own truths, right? So right, Fiona, that's so hard to now I can just suddenly have my truth, especially because we're physiologically programmed to be like, I can't have my truth, and you become afraid of it. And if speaking your truth feels unsafe and feels dangerous, you're not going to do it. So let's tap on this. Thanks for that share, Fiona. Karate chop. Even though speaking up for myself, giving myself my truth, that's not allowed. That's not safe. I choose to acknowledge I feel this way now. even though it's hard to speak my truth. It's hard to stand up for myself. It has not felt safe. I choose to honor my feelings now. And then go to the eyebrow. It's not safe to speak my truth. It's not safe to stand up for myself. It's not safe. I want to do it. I want to own my truth. I want to speak it. But that's felt anything but safe. There's often been punishment that rains down. If I speak my truth, I haven't been allowed it. So I learned to suppress my own truth to survive, to try and feel safe in a world that's not allowing me to feel safe speaking my truth. So I just want to honor that this is challenging for me. Honor that this is difficult. And maybe I judge myself harshly. I should just speak my truth. I should put my big girl or big boy pants on and just speak my truth. No way. Not when that doesn't feel safe. So what if I can honor that this is a process? This is going to take me some time. And the first key here is to unhook from the judgment towards myself for not speaking my truth. Because that's the kid in me that learned to not feel safe. And as I start to soften the judgment, honor that child in me that doesn't feel safe, I start to find relief. And I bet I find that I start to speak my truth. Not because I'm pushing or forcing myself, but because I've become more grounded, more centered in myself. And it's become easier to speak my truth. And easier to have people disagree with me. And I'll start to see these little shifts over time. And that starts to change everything for me. So take a breath. That's one thing that I've noticed over the years with tapping is, like I said, when I was a young kid, I always spoke my mind, but very quickly learned, oh, that's not okay. That's not okay. But that's really been rekindled for me. Like, I speak my mind now. I would consider, I'm fairly, I would say, quite direct for the most part. I don't typically mince words with stuff. and that's huge, and that's empowering. And I'm also okay with people not agreeing with me or not liking me for the most part. Now that doesn't mean that I don't have times where, like, my kid gets activated and I'm like, oh God, I'm not pleasing daddy. That can still happen, but that's okay. That's part of the process. But I notice as a whole, I don't remember when it was. It might have been after my mother died, when both my parents were gone, about a year after that. And I started realizing there's something about both your parents being gone too. And I was saying, and I had been tapping for a while, and I thought, God, I actually feel like I'm becoming an adult. Like I'm just becoming more back to myself. And that's been huge. And it's been a process, and it will continue to be, and it will happen over time. And that's why I said I made this decision even from a political standpoint. I'm not hiding who I am. I'm not going to, like, in this group, I'm not like putting all my stuff out there. But I'm more like, no, I'm not going to hide who I am. I'm not going to, I don't want to do that. I don't feel like that's authentic for me to do that. And everybody's got to decide what's true for them. So, and I'm okay with whatever repercussions come from that. So that's come through time, through practice, through tapping, lots of tapping. So again, it's a journey. And I hope you found this helpful. And then I'll probably come back and do another one a little later today. Hopping on, my daughter and I have been doing edits together for the last few days and kind of get that done. So we have a deadline of having it done tomorrow. So Fiona, always great to see you here live. And I hope this is helpful to anyone who watches it. Take good care, and bye for now.